Shadfish are the largest of the herring family. They migrate up the rivers of the East Coast each year to spawn and return to sea.
Well, people have been fishing for shad in the Connecticut River for thousands of years. The shad's an anadromous fish that swims in from the ocean up the river to spawn every spring. And the indigenous people netted them, made weirs, hooked them, speared them. It's been a staple. Not only did they eat them, but they used them for fertilizer in their gardens. And after the European colonists came, it provided fertilizer and food source, an important food source for hundreds of years. And now it's in danger of disappearing.
Shad was popular during the 1940s. However, its abundance declined rapidly in the 80s, the same time the striped bass population started growing at record-breaking levels.
The state has had a lot of good laws that have been there in place which have helped, but politics with the striped bass have been hindering their effectiveness in a great way. The fact that the top two positions in Connecticut DEP come and go with the governors ensure that it's swung by politics rather than by facts and science. And that's what's been going on. The shad have been declining. The state's fully aware of it, and they know why. I have the reports. Now it's gone to a federal level with the push on the striped bass, and the state seems to be hiding behind those laws. Instead of, we're a member of the Atlantic States Marine Commission, and the people that represent us should be bringing, those facts with them and voting accordingly on those facts. Instead, they're being swayed by the politics for the striped bass, and we may see our shad go bye-bye.
The Department of Environmental Protection, also known as the DEP, has a responsibility and capability to protect our natural resources and educate the public. Their mission statement is as follows. Founded in 1971, the mission of the Department of Environmental Protections is to conserve, improve, and protect the natural resources and social and economic development of Connecticut while preserving the natural environment and the life forms it supports in a delicate, interrelated, and complex balance, to end that the state may fulfill its responsibility as trustee of the environment for present and future generations.
The government the federal and state governments have a complex relationship, and they have, for the past few years, legislated and created policies that have caused the striped bass population to explode up and down the Atlantic coast. And as a result, the striped bass and the couple of other factors like the disappearance of the Manhattan have caused high predation on the shad population, and in fact the shad population is shrinking drastically. And a lot of it was federal policy that was driven by lobbyists for the sport fishing industry for striped bass. And striped bass are fun to catch, but for the most part they get caught, thrown back, often die, and when they do get caught they're not so good to eat because they're full of mercury. And just because the sport fishing guys have a lot of money and big power boats, they've been able to influence federal bureaucrats and state legislators at the expense of the shad.
Nature set up things so there's a balance. One species will work with the other species. When humans get involved and start protecting one predator species so it can wipe out all other species, big problems arise. It's been happening offshore as well. The feds jumped in and said that spiny dogfish were endangered species. I'm a commercial fisherman, fishing captain offshore, and I can tell you there's thousands of square miles of the bottom is simply coated with the things. And they're hurting all the other fisheries out there. They're hurting the lobster fishery. I can go on and on. Nature shouldn't be messed with in that way. Presently, there's a constituency of the sports fishermen who are really uneducated to the whole of nature. And I think the only way is like a grassroots movement to educate the public, which is one of the jobs of the DEP, but they're not doing it. One of their areas is public education. And even in spite of having this information, they're not putting it out there.
If Dan Russell and other shad fishermen can't prove to the DEP that they are a sustainable fishery within the next 2 years, they are at risk of being closed down.